human being, I'm not doing it. They said, right, what we're going to do, because this is very interesting for us, because in my 19 years as a policeman taking DNA swabs, I've never had anyone refute. What we're going to do is we have authority to tie you up, force your mouth open, and we will take it from you by force. And I have to warn you, Mr. Veitch, it might break some of your teeth if you fight. So we'd advise you to just obey us now, because we will pin you down, we will hold your mouth open, it's our right to do so. And I regret every single moment of my life I gave in, I felt the fear, and I obeyed them. And I regret it massively. If I ever had the chance to destroy the database that holds people's DNA, I would do it. I don't think anyone has the right to the inherent knowledge behind your atomic structure. And my crime was free speech, just so you know what I was arrested for, using a megaphone in Trafalgar Square. And I'm now on that database. But hey, they don't have me. My spirit, my inherent me is me. They have some information about me. Changing perceptions of it. Like the police state is funny. These men dressing up in these fancy dress uniforms, militarized people on the streets. American police fully militarized now, you know, this British police as well, like in London, I don't know, in Bournemouth, they go around with these big yellow tasers, you know, electric torture weapons. And it's funny, it shows how scared they are of us. Like, because they know, I think deep down, the state knows that things are due for an evolution, for a revolution. And the police state, the CCTV, the tyranny, the kind of beating us down, is a desperate attempt to keep us in our place, because the dog has realized it doesn't need a master anymore, and he's going to leave the kennel. So this is good news. Police state is good news. It shows progress is being made. What we need to do is connect to all these human beings underneath the robot and remind them that the choices they make will affect their children and their grandchildren as well. So show them love to a certain extent, but don't try and show love to someone who's truncheoning you across the face. It doesn't quite work that way. Do what you can and realize that all bad news in terms of police state and fascism is truly underneath hidden good news. It shows we're making progress. It shows that the government is running scared. People are not paying their taxes. They're not obeying. And I want to make a video in the near future about someone who can't repay their mortgage, and the banks with the bailiffs are going to try and take their ass away and kick their children out in the street. I think what would be an interesting real-life experiment would be to armor up a house, use the world's best padlocks and armor, and defend a castle as if it were a castle, and see if these corporations would take it to the next extent. And if you're barricaded in there, you know, with a year's supply of food and water, what can they do? Probably not much. Because, you know, it's the banks that caused the problems with the government, and now the banks are trying to take people's houses away. Ultimately, it's about your conscious wisdom. The difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is something a computer can have. This computer here, this laptop, full of knowledge, full of data, but no wisdom. And wisdom is seeing through the illusion. Wisdom is realizing you are never alone. You are part of one big family that will always look after you if you give out. If you love, love will come back to you. And let's not forget Bill Hicks. I hope all of you have heard of Bill Hicks. If you haven't, you need to get on the computer today and watch all of Bill Hicks' videos. He's an American comedian who died at the age of 33 in the 90s. And he was awake, and he wasn't scared, and he used comedy to express his ideas about tyranny. And it's funny, he's talking about George Bush Sr. back in the early 90s. It might as well be George Bush Jr. It's the exact same problems. And for any Christians in the audience, Bill Hicks is the closest we've had to the second coming of Christ. I stand by that fact. He is such an admirable man, and I wish he was still alive today, because he would have a field day with his comedy. And he died of cancer, unfortunately, at the age of 33. So, and also he hated non-smokers. So, many of you will have seen this image. It's a North Korean Viet Cong guy getting executed by a South Vietnamese general, and he's getting his brains blown out. But optimism, because today is the first day of the rest of your life. I don't believe in death. Of course, death happens. I don't think it's the end. I think it's another beginning. So remember, there's nothing the powers that be, can do to you, but there's only things that you can do to yourself through your own fear, through your own perception. And if you don't let your brain fall into that position of slave or fear, then you can achieve anything. And I just want to end by saying thank you very much for letting me speak to you. It's been an absolute honour. We're going to go out. Anyone wants to come onto the seafront with a megaphone and do some absurdism. See if we can attract some agents from the Matrix to try and stop us. And I enjoy it. I think it's fun. And the best thing with optimism is the system is collapsing. Civil society is collapsing. All the slavery, the hierarchies are starting to fall apart. The internet has allowed people to realize instantly information as it happens. The camera is your weapon. My megaphone is my gun. We have a shoot to thrill policy. And you are unstoppable. And I've probably not told you anything you didn't already know. So thank you. You've been a great audience. And thank you.